Mercedes are like fine wine. They get better with age. Other than the S-Class, I have fairly little interest in most new Mercedes. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of the AMG products are excellent, but I would just rather have something else. Yeah. But once the Mercedes starts to get about 10 years old, I'm like, oh yeah. And then once it's about 20 years old, I'm like, that's cool.
And then when it's like 30 and 40 years old,
then they're classics.
Damn.
Yeah, they really are.
Have you ever opened and closed the door on my
No, because I'm worried about getting tetanus.
It'd be fine. Nathan already cut himself on it and put tape over the hole.
Maybe that's what's happened to him.
Yeah,
he got tetanus from your Mercedes.
My Mercedes. No, but those they feel like a bank vault.
Yeah.
You open and close it. I posted a video of my S-Class when we had the new S-Class, and I like kind of compared them like side by side because why not? Of course, while we had that new S-Class, and all of the comments were like, that older one is so much cooler and the doors sound so much better, because that's all that classic Mercedes enthusiasts care about is what the doors feel like. So they've all just commented that about it.
They don't care about how many people have been murdered.
No, they don't, because in that one it's
at least
over or under 1.
Yeah. We don't know.
We don't know.
Could be as high as a lot.
7.
But there's at least a likely chance that it's 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was at least 1 attempted murder, because I can't think of many other reasons to shoot a car.
Yeah, so many
Unless you're like a redneck also out in the country and you're just like, yeah, I got my new guns.
Yeah. No, that is the gentleman's Mercedes. That doesn't belong out in.
Was there ever the phenomenon when you were in grade school or high school, I guess it'd be more of a high school thing, where for say like homecoming or some sort of event, end of the year, whatever, some kids would acquire a clapped out vehicle and then smash it and destroy it?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
With just baseball bats and hammers.
Our school would, well, yes, they would do that. But then our school would also buy cars from insurance auction that were smashed, and they'd put them in front of the school with a "Don't drink and drive" sign on them.
Oh.
Yeah.
So the school would actually do that?
Yes.
Did you guys have a senior prank?
Yes. What did we do? Well, we kind of got screwed because the year before us, they went to a fish market and they bought a bunch of fish and they put them in the vents.
Wow, that's awful.
And it ruined the school. Like, it was so vile. So after they went too far, obviously, like that's going too far.
Yeah.
So we were kind of like on high watch, like, don't try anything, guys. So,
sure.
Like we got our chalk and we, did the chalk on the sidewalk. And I don't think there was a prank. Like, okay. I don't really think we did anything, just because like the administrators were like, we're going to kill you all if you try anything. Right. Because of the whole fish thing. So
the fish thing. Okay.
Isn't that disgusting?
That is pretty bad.
What kind of demented, like, that's like not even funny.
It's one thing to maybe put like one fish.
Yeah.
And just so that it's like, something's not right. And then you could easily like take it and be like, this is the culprit, and then leave.
It was all year. You could smell, like, obviously they cleaned it and, did what they had to do.
But everywhere.
But there were certain classrooms in the school that even a year or two later, you could still smell the fish. It was so disgusting.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
For our senior prank, all of the seniors got to the school like 2 hours before school started and parked our cars on the perimeter of the parking lot so that no one else could get in. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Right. That's a good one that like causes mayhem, but it's all completely reversible.
Yeah.
Yeah. The year before us was a little dumber. They stacked tires in front of the doors of the school.
Oh.
And it was like, oh, this is hilarious, but like we need to get into school now.
Yeah, it's a hassle.
Yeah. At least the parking one is technically there were other lots that like the underclassmen could go find and use. They were just less convenient.
Yeah.
So the seniors, got monopolized the main lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But both card based. Welcome everyone to episode 17 of the Daily Motor Podcast.
Indeed.
Really getting up there. Our podcast is now legal in some states.
What do you mean?
The age of consent.
That's not 18?
Some states it's 17.
Oh, yeah. All right then. Well, we have a consenting podcast.
Yeah, good for the Daily Motor Podcast.
Also, I apologize if I sound nasally because I had a cold all weekend.
Yes.
But I'm fine now. I just sound like I'm underwater.
Yeah, we've had a pretty eventful week between colds and buying cars and driving cars and getting ready to travel, and cars that we have coming up that we got confirmed.
This week didn't feel real, but here we are.
Yeah. So for a little look into the future, Chris and I both have some trips planned now. I will be heading out next week to drive the new Kia Sportage. Yes. Might as well bring that up for everybody to see.
It looks like if you told, well, I don't actually want to say what I think it looks like. You have some inspiration in the interior from Mercedes, especially if you look at the cluster into the infotainment screen. It's kind of like an older S-Class or I guess just any of the newer Benzes. They kind of have that setup.
Benzes. The exterior it's
striking.
Striking is a really good way to put that. I don't know if people are going to love the fact that it doesn't look like a human. We like our cars to look anthropomorphic.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of like when Jeep in 2013 came out with the new Cherokee and everyone was like, it looks like an alien.
I think the main thing is no one cares about Kia like they do with Jeep, so no one's made a big deal about it.
That's true, yeah.
You're right, that does totally, it's a single screen design.
Yeah.
I think this looks a lot like the EV6 inside as well, though, and outside in some regards. So it's clear that Kia is using this as a new kind of corporate design language.
I think it's a good looking SUV.
I think it is too.
It'll do all right. And plus they sell it to you in the X-Line trim, which people like.
People will gobble up off-roady crossovers.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, you had an X-Line Santa. What the fuck was it called? Sorrento. And it was quite good.
Yeah, no, it was good.
I like the rear. The rear's got some nice style to it. Yeah. The Sportage.
It's like the Kia Stinger sort of.
It does have that kind of roundiness. So I'm looking forward to that. It should be fine. And you, in about a month or so, will be out driving 2 cars.
Yeah, the first one is the new Sequoia in Texas. I'm going to go drive that.
You know if it's a 23 or 22?
23. I thought there was already an event for this car, so
Toyota sometimes does double events.
Okay. And I thought I saw some of our other journalist friends already driving the new Sequoia. They may have just been walking around it. They may not have driven it.
I see.
But yeah, I'm excited for that. I haven't driven the new Tundra though. It would be kind of cool to drive a new Tundra before, or maybe not. I guess just to have a fresh perspective.
There's the Sequoia. It's a mean machine.
Like a Tundra with a SUV back.
Sequoias that I've driven in the past have all been. They feel like you're driving a space shuttle. It's the largest thing, even though it isn't the largest car. It feels like
kind of
the
like
largest
one of the
car.
other cars we drove this week. That just felt massive.
You're right. That is another fun car we drove this past week. Man, we got a lot to catch up on, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Ladies, as if any ladies listen to this.
There might be like 7.
Fun fact: Alyssa's mother, hi Pam, if you're listening, tuned into the beginning of the one that we were gone, and I recited Will Smith's famous line right at the beginning of it.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I was like, it was making a Stellantis joke.
Was I gone?
Yes, you were on one of your
That's why trips. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. And I was like, keep my company's name out of your fucking mouth.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, Charlie's
She's like, oh wow, this is the first podcast she's ever listened to. Yeah. That's what she hears when she opens it.
Right, exactly. The rear of this Sequoia looks like a Jeep. Looks like the Grand Wagoneer.
It does, and I like that.
Yeah.
I like SUVs that can just be SUVs.
That's a good point. They don't have to try to be something else.
And I'm not saying that I don't like SUVs that try to be sporty, but I can appreciate SUVs that are just honest, like the Jeep Grand Cherokee. It's an honest SUV. You can tell it's not trying to be a sports car. It feels like an SUV in that respect, kind of in the same way that a Land Rover does. And I appreciate that. And I hope I hope this Sequoia is the same way, and it looks like it will be.
Maybe your Sequoia will come with a man with a tablet.
I hope it does.
It might be a feature on the Platinum trim. Top trim.
What, the man or the tablet?
The man and the tablet. I assume they come as one. He's kind of born into the universe. He's holding the tablet.
Jeeves.
Yeah.
Real life Jeeves.
Yep, exactly. So that'll be good. I don't think anyone's driven that yet. I think it was just a reveal that people saw.
Yeah, probably.
I think he'll be one of the first.
Cool.
Yep. And then we just today found out you will also be driving the new HRV.
Which I'm really excited for because I don't love the current HRV.
Do you love this?
I think it's weird. Oh, that's I don't know what that is.
It's the new HRV.
Oh. No, it's not.
It is.
That is.
Yeah, this was like an early rendering of it. Teased.
Someone's drawn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you find the interior of the old HRV to be weird?
A little bit. I haven't honestly spent much time in the HRV.
Really? I did. We had one that was a loaner at the Honda dealership.
Oh, right.
And it was silver and it had gray interior.
So you can like gray interior.
You can imagine it was gray cloth. You can imagine what that interior looked like after like 3 people had it as a loaner car.
Good point.
It was just I mean, irreversibly disgusting.
Irreversibly disgusting.
I hated getting in that car and touching it.
If this is much like the Civic, it'll be quite good. If it's much like the CR-V, it'll be fine.
Photos of it? What is that? That's someone's made that on their computer. There we go.
I don't think these are real.
No, that looks right. And it looks normal, which is good.
That's a Civic. That's probably the HR.
I think they already have this new gen in other markets, don't they?
Yeah, because I think this is a real.
Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah. A little basic, but it looks effective.
Yeah, pull up the old one, because the shifter was like up to my head. Look at that. It's just, why is it the way that it is?
Is this the interior you were speaking of? The grayish?
Yes. I think that's that. Is that cloth? I don't know. It was just hideous, though. It was so stained and vile.
The only thing that bums me out about the HR-V is the fact that the Fit is gone, and the HR-V is essentially replaced.
I love the Honda Fit.
Everyone loves the Honda Fit.
Is such a good little
Fit
car.
owners love
so
the
much
Fit.
Fun to drive.
Enthusiasts love the Fit. Economical people love the Fit. So it's a shame that it's gone.
It's all the car you ever need, right? The Honda Fit is like hot compact status without actually being a hot compact, because it's fun to drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can use it for things other than just daily driving. You can go out on a spirited drive with it. You can take it rally crossing, ice racing, autocross, all of those things you can do with it. Plus, it's economical, it's efficient, and I don't think it looks bad. No,
it's a great car.
You have it with a manual.
Yep.
I think. When did they kill it? 2019.
I think like 2020 or 2021. Yeah.
You could you have it with a manual up?
They killed the manual like a year or two before they killed the car in total. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a shame. I liked the Fit a lot.
If you want a compact, like subcompact, really tiny city car type thing right now, remarkably, Chevy is one of your few options. They still make the Spark.
I've never driven a Spark. I don't even think I've ever sat in a Spark.
I don't think I have either. I've driven the Sonic. I reviewed the Sonic.
There's no way there's a Spark press car.
I highly doubt it.
If there is, we should try and get it.
I mean, they barely even have like Equinoxes at this point, much less a Spark. But I'll ask.
I bet there's no Spark.
Yeah, they don't have a Spark anymore. And then there's still the Hyundai Accent and the Kia Rio, which are both great cars.
Is the Accent essentially just a Rio?
Yes, uglier though. Typical Hyundai.
I liked the Rio a lot.
Rio's a great car.
I drove the Rio all the way to Chicago and back, and it did great. It was comfortable. The sound system was decent. It had steering assist. It had a decent room for our luggage. It was a hatchback, seats folded down.
I drove a basic Rio sedan rental car out in Vegas this year, and it was great. It was comfortable. It was slow, but enough that I could cruise at 90 or so.
You just have it pegged the whole time, and it's fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about modulating your right foot. You just set it down.
It's on or off.
Yeah.
Just take a brick and set it on there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. No, it was a really good car. They're really, it's a shame that small, affordable cars are just going the way of the dodo. Because, I mean, we see with the Maverick, people still want cheap cars.
They do.
What was the cheap car we drove recently the Forte?
Kicks.
Oh, the Kicks too.
Nissan Kicks.
Yeah, we've had two.
I didn't mind that.
Mid $20,000 cars recently that are just like,
Are we getting into cars that we
not quite yet?
Okay.
Not quite yet. Yeah, but the Kicks was good. You're right. We already talked about that. Then I'm doing Sportage. Yep. Also, I am getting married in exactly 2 months today.
I wish there was a sound effect.
We can just yes. And for the wedding, as my sweetheart and I depart, we will be in a Rolls-Royce Cullinan, which is pretty cool.
That is the biggest flex. That's so cool. That our first Rolls-Royce loan is for one a Cullinan and also for your wedding. Like it's a pretty big deal.
Hopefully Rolls-Royce is so blown away by our coverage that we're just regular. Just hey Rolls-Royce.
They only make 3 cars, don't they?
Do they still make the
They don't do the convertible one anymore or the Wraith. I think they literally just make the Cullinan, the Ghost, and the Phantom.
They don't make the Dawn?
I don't think they do. They might make the Dawn. They don't make the Wraith anymore. I suppose that the Dawn could still be in existence.
2022.
The Dawn is just a convertible Wraith.
Bro, what is with this?
And the Wraith is just a 2-door Ghost. So, but the Ghost is new as of recently. The Ghost just finally got
the
revised.
Phantom's new too.
Phantom's also new. It's not as new. The Phantom's been the same for a couple of years now, but the Ghost is actually quite new, as in like the past year.
Wraith, 22 Wraith.
That's the last model year. 22 is the last model year for the Red.
Oh, you're saying it's not they've stopped.
Yeah.
They've announced
the
they've
race
stopped.
is done after this year.
Okay. God, the Phantom's so cool. That's the only possible thing that could be cooler than the Cullinan we're getting is if we got a Phantom.
I think the Ghost is probably pretty good.
The Ghost is probably pretty good. Yeah,
but it's just a BMW 7 Series.
Right. And
this is its own thing.
Yes. Yep.
0 to 60 in 5 seconds? Are you kidding me?
4.5 for the normal one. This is the extended wheelbase. Normal one's 4.5.
Okay, so to put it in perspective, right? This Rolls-Royce Phantom is the biggest car I've ever seen. I'll always remember I was walking downtown Chicago and Bentley Gold Coast. They always have their cars out front of the dealership. When it's nice out, they'll park some cars outside. And there was a Phantom sitting outside, and there was an Uber Chevy Suburban, which is the long wheelbase Tahoe. It's the big full-size Chevy SUV. And it looked tiny next to the Rolls-Royce Phantom.
Yeah.
It's just remarkable how big that car is. And to think that can go from 0 to 60 in 5 seconds is just hilarious.
Well, the other thing that's remarkable...
It's got to weigh like 4 tons. How much does it weigh?
Let's see. 2022.
Let me make an educated guess. I'm going to say 6,500 pounds for the Phantom.
You want to do the extended wheelbase?
Yeah, because I think that's the one I saw. Wow. How do they make it so light?
Probably the aluminum frame. Yeah, there's a lot of frame there, and a lot of it's
for the people who
aluminum.
aren't watching. 5,700 pounds.
Mm-hmm. At least according to this carexpert.com.
How much does a Hellcat weigh? Because that's just made out of scrap metal. Oh wow. Okay, so it's
pounds less.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the Challenger actually weighs more than the Charger, doesn't it?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Weird.
Well, either way, they'll be
similar. Yeah. What's more remarkable, I think, is this Cullinan we're getting. 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds.
That's disturbing. Why do they need to make it go that fast?
Because you're spending $500,000 on a car. You want everything. There should be no compromise. But part of this is 627 pound-feet of torque at 1,600 RPM. That's so low. That means you're just barely breathing on the gas, and you're getting 600 pound-feet of torque. Like in terms of where your revs are, if you're coming off the line.
What are some things that would beat to 60?
Things that the Cullinan would beat 0 to 60, the base ass Cullinan. The new GTI probably? Manual? Probably about 5 seconds.
What is the new Mustang 5-liter?
That's down by like 3.8, 3.9.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, especially the 10
crazy.
speed. Yeah. What else?
The
BRZ, right?
What?
Beat the BRZ, right?
Oh, it would beat the BRZ. It's just funny because this will do 4.9 seconds every single time. Like you don't have to worry. Like in a Mustang with like a 6-speed manual, like you're not going to do it. Could you imagine being in a 6-speed Mustang GT and you pull up next to Simon Cowell and his Cullinan, and he just absolutely wrecks you from a set of lights?
Simon Cowell? You mean us? We'll be.
Us. Yeah, sorry.
Yes, we're at the same level as Simon Cowell now.
Pull up next to Charlie from Daily Motor in his Rolls-Royce Cullinan, and he just smokes you from the light.
You understand that Alyssa won't settle for anything less than this after we have one for a loaner. I mean,
that's right.
She's going to have to trade her Ford Maverick in for
just to get a Cullinan. Yeah. I mean, you guys can just sell the house and live upstairs here.
We'd have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rollses are pretty neat. They're definitely eye of the beholder for how they look, but I think the new ones are pretty stunning. This Ghost.
Have you ever seen a Phantom drop head? I think we talked about this last podcast.
A few ago, yeah.
Biggest convertible I've ever seen. Yeah. You look at pictures of Rolls Royces on the internet and you just don't realize how massive they are and how much of a presence they have.
Yeah.
It's just insane. It kind of brings forth, like, if you look at it on the internet and you just like don't get it, you're like, why would someone pay that much for the car? And then you see one in person and you're just like, holy crap, I don't even want to get within 10 feet of this car. Like,
well, and the thing is I haven't driven a Cullinan for any extended period of time, or any Rolls Royce for that matter, but I've driven it around the parking lot. And
a Cullinan?
Yes. Oh. And there were substantial speed bumps similar to the one we have here in our complex, which are your kind of standard, what you would think of as a speed bump. Barely feel it in the Cullinan. Like there's just between the suspension.
Is it air suspension on that?
It's got to be. Yeah. We'll have to do a lot of research. Wonder if DeMuro's reviewed a Cullinan. He probably has,
sure
right?
He has. Yeah, we'll have to watch his.
Well, and I just wonder if we can.
I'll just make sure to not watch it while I'm on a fuel economy test.
There you go.
That's my exit.
DeMuro. Yep. Oh, but his is a 2020, so really ours will be a more relevant review for the.
Speaking of Doug DeMuro, my Golf R review has more views than his.
Hey, there's
In fact, I don't think there's a higher viewed Golf R video than mine.
Well, you know what? I also don't think that DeMuro has a podcast. So we're really stunning on Doug. I'm sorry, man. No, I think I can't remember if I mentioned this on the podcast, but I know sure I mentioned it to you back when Doug was still writing for Jalopnik and was maybe just transitioning over to Auto Trader, and I was starting at Car and Driver. I had emailed him and offered him like if he was ever in the area, and I think it was when he was doing one of his cross country road trips. I was like, hey, if you ever want to swing into Car and Driver, get like a tour around and stuff like that, I'm more than happy to. And he was very nice on email and like emailed me back and had some corny comment about like look at us advancing in the auto journalism world. Like maybe someday we'll both be fighting for the same scoop or something like that. And so it's just kind of neat that we're growing in our own ways. He has for some million subscribers or so. And damn it, we got 27,000 and we are growing strong.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Other
fun cars coming up that we have. Cadillac CT5V Blackwing 6-speed manual.
It's a manual.
We will be taking on the racetrack.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's going to be a really fun day tracking that car around because we've had some excellent sedans and larger saloons on that track. We had the M3, the M4, and the Lexus RC, although I don't think you were there for the RC.
No, I was a baby still.
There you go, fledgling. But this car is supposed to be one of the most fun cars to drive.
Yeah, can you still have one? Can you get it? Okay. Yeah. Are they is this the only model year for them, or are they gonna keep
I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's kind of like Cadillac's last hurrah. They're like, here you go, here's the last one ever, and then we're going all electric.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure their all electric cars will be good, but gosh, to have a V8 manual sedan, like you could buy one of those now and it'll probably never depreciate.
No, never. I mean, look at CTSV wagon manuals.
Yeah.
They're like 6-figure cars at this point, if they're perfect.
Right.
But I mean, even ones that have been daily driven and have some miles on them are still $60,000-$70,000.
We should convince your friend Matthew to buy a CT5V Blackwing.
He won't do that.
Not a convertible?
Or can't get it with a tan steering wheel. He's not listening, but my friend Matthew, he's my age, right? He's 23, but he's very much a 50, 60-year-old man in lots of ways
which I can empathize with because I own a Town and Country and yearn over Buick Sabres.
Yes. And he's very particular when it comes to vehicle specs. He's been looking at getting into a sports car, and his criteria, one of his main criteria is that it has a tan interior with a tan steering wheel. Yeah, see, the steering wheel's black. He wouldn't do it. Plus, it's a sedan. Like he wouldn't. His thing is more of.
But he currently daily drives a Tesla Model Y, and he could sell that and get one of these.
No, his aspirations for next daily after the Tesla is a flying spur.
I gotta put the camera back up so that you all can see me giving Chris the flat face. Don't get me wrong, I like the flying spur, but I feel like if you were to drive a CT5V Blackwing, he might be wooed. Although
let's bring him to the track day. Have him drive.
There you go. If he's not the type to drive spiritedly much, then maybe it doesn't make sense.
I don't think that car really fit. I'm sure he'd love to drive it. But I don't think he would enjoy it.
How many stick shift cars has he owned?
A handful. He had a Z4, Boxster, and a Miata.
Okay.
They were all manual.
All good cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's done the small sporty car thing. Now he's got a flex.
You know what's funny? I went with him to Switch Cars in Ohio, and we test drove a Lotus Elise. And this was before the car market went crazy. And this was like a pristine, it was like a 2008 or 9 Lotus Elise, just NA. It wasn't supercharged. It was blue with tan interior, beautiful spec. Had like 30,000 miles on it. And I think they only wanted like 38 grand for it, which looking back, like that's probably.
Yeah. How much do you have to spend now to get an Elise?
50 or more. I mean, he would have made 10 grand just by letting that thing sit in his garage for a year or 2 years. Yeah. Okay. Well, Matthew, I hope you enjoy your flying spur. He'll probably want to see this Cullinan that we get. Maybe. I told him we were getting a Cullinan. He's like, I have to get a ride in the Cullinan. He's like, you have to take me out in that.
Is it okay if we mention his dealership on here?
Probably.
Okay. Can we swing up to his Kia dealership and pull up in the Cullinan and ask for a trade-in appraisal?
That would be hilarious. We should send Alyssa up there. I don't think he knows Alyssa.
That's true.
We should send someone up there that he doesn't know. Although he knows we're getting a Cullinan though, so like he would suspect that it's us.
Well, we could ask one of his colleagues though to do the trade-in appraisal. Like do it when he's like in his office and bring someone else out.
They just like drop the keys on his desk and they're like, "Hey, we need you to do an appraisal on this."
And he comes out and he's like,
"Yeah, right." We should have not told him. That would have been funnier.
Yeah, that would have.
Oh well.
Shoot. Well, hopefully we can get a flying spur someday for him to check out too.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe I'll try to get you a flying spur to drive up to the wedding.
I'm not opposed to that.
Okay, I didn't think you would be.
No, I mean, I'm fine with that. Alpina B8, Grand Coupe,
Okay.
Genesis G90.
Subaru Ascent, Touring.
Subaru Ascent, yeah, as long as it's I don't know how Subaru trim levels work.
I think, well, Subaru trim levels,
of the way
I was going to say, because a premium is below limited.
Right.
Like with Chris's car. Premium is literally base in the BRC. Okay, this week's cars, and by this week I mean last week's cars. We had the Kia Forte GT and the Lexus Nx350h hybrid.
Yeah.
Forte GT, what'd you think?
I love the Forte GT. I had such a good 4 days with that car. It was
Forte
so much
days.
fun. Excuse me.
Nice. We are just beautiful today.
Oh God, I know. I don't feel myself still, so I just feel gross. Yeah, it's actually a shame. I was kind of not feeling good for 2 days. I still drove the car though. I still drove around just because I was like, oh, it's very rare that we get like these hot compacts. You know, there's only a limited amount of cars.
Yeah, they're rare because they are
There's
rare.
the Forte GT, the Honda Civic Si, the Jetta GLI, and the Elantra N line.
Yeah, and the GTI, but if you're getting into
that's
hatches,
hatchback.
Yeah, I know, but it's essentially the same.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm gonna go grab my water.
Okay.
Chris,
Yes, I will fill in on the Forte GT. It is about $26,500 in terms of cost. Comes with a 7-speed dual clutch automatic transmission, has heated and cooled seats in the front. Quick side note, is there a difference between cooled and ventilated? I assume, technically speaking, a ventilated seat only blows ambient air, whereas a cooled seat would actually blow air-conditioned air into your butthole. But I
difference, but I don't know.
I bet you some manufacturers like blur the line.
cars.
Yeah.
I don't really think that it would matter though, because air is just air.
No, because if you get into a car that's 85 degrees inside or hotter, and you're just taking that air from below the seat and busting it up your butthole, then it's not going to feel as good. Whereas if it's air conditioned, it'd be like 40 degrees, and it would like straight up be cooling the little hairs inside your ass crack.
I guess so. Yeah,
yeah.
I've never paid attention.
I feel like there is a difference. But either way, the Forte has one of them. It's some blowing apparatus.
Yeah.
For underneath
and that's,
you.
That's one of the big things with the Forte GT.
Yeah. Everyone in the comment section who bitched about the the Honda Civic Si not having heated seats
options.
should just go out and buy a Forte.
Right. And also the fact that they let you choose though, because with the Civic Si and the Jetta GLI, you can't pick any options.
Correct.
You just, with the Civic Si especially, you don't have any options. Pick your color. The GLI, you can choose your transmission and your color, but that's really about it, or like a black accent package.
Mm-hmm.
But the Forte GT, you can choose your transmission. You can have a 6-speed manual, or you can have a 7-speed dual clutch, or you can get what's called the GT2 package, similar to what you get on the Kia Stinger, where you get the heated and ventilated seats, power driver's seat, LED interior lighting, Harman Kardon sound system, and your lane keep assist stuff and whatnot.
Yeah. How much is the base one then? Like 23, 24?
Something like that.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
It's like a $2,000 option, I think, for the GT2 pack. I would get it.
I would get it too.
It excuses, like it adds to the value of why would you get the Forte GT
over
well,
the Civic
I can get
or
all
something.
these luxuries.
Yeah.
And I honestly think I'd want to drive a manual one, but the dual clutch in that car is so good.
Yeah.
It was just flawless the whole time I had it.
It's the type of thing where if you... Yeah, unless you live kind of out in a more rural area, that's probably when I'd get the manual. But if you're going to be doing a lot of city driving or anything like that, or daily commuting, just get the DCT.
It makes some good fart noises too. Not always, but you get like some really good satisfying shifts out of that 7-speed.
I liked the feel of the steering wheel. You notice it was very thin and hard. Like you really grab onto it.
Like a Porsche kind of.
Yeah.
Like a 997, 987 generation Porsche steering wheel.
Yep.
Obviously, I know that. It reminded me a lot of my Porsche steering wheel.
There you go.
That's exactly what it felt like.
If I had to improve anything from a sporty car perspective, it would maybe be make the steering a little quicker, make the suspension a little stiffer, and just kind of make the car feel a little bit more on edge. But I'm not saying they should have done that because I think the Forte GT really appeals to a lot of daily drivers.
I was going to say, you have to have the versatility in a hot compact.
Yeah. It's just point. For me personally, I would rather have something a little more manic, kind of like a Focus
like an RS.
ST or RS. Yeah. But no one makes those anymore. Yeah. And I think that's why you and I both agree that the Civic Si is definitely still relevant and like might be better for certain people.
Yeah.
Because it just feels just that much more special.
It feels more tailored to the enthusiast.
Yeah.
Because you don't get all the luxuries in it. It's really just raw driving. It's the closest you can get to like a quote unquote raw driving experience in a hot compact. But with that being said, would I have the Civic Si over the Forte GT? I don't know that I would.
I'm curious about the weights.
Yeah. It's like, it's one of those things where the incoming Top Gear reference when they went to the Ukraine and they were driving the Volkswagen Up ! And the Ford Fiesta, and Hammond brought the Ford Fiesta. Jeremy brought the Volkswagen Up, and he gets out of his car and he goes, looks at Hammond and he goes, "That's brilliant. You know, whatever, blah, blah, blah. That's the best in the segment." Hammond's like, "Well, why didn't you bring one?" And he goes, "Well, because I like this." I feel like it's kind of like that for me. Like I like the Forte GT. Is the Civic Si better dynamically and from a driving perspective? Probably, but I like the Forte GT.
Right.
I feel like it almost had a little bit more character.
This is not, none of these, actually this car and driver article might, was this the older Forte GT?
Older Civic Si.
Yeah, these are the older everything.
Yeah, everything's older there.
Yeah, let's just see what, they put the Forte GT third. That's not too surprising. No. Sloppy shifter, lackluster steering feel, noisy suspension.
Really? It's a manual.
Yeah. These are probably all manuals. They put the GLI first, which at that time makes sense because that Civic Si was not very good and this was the newer GLI. But the Kia actually won in the vehicle standpoint and came down in the powertrain standpoint because of acceleration, fuel economy. And
so the Volkswagen didn't win anything and then they just won.
Yeah, literally by 1 point though. So it was very, very close.
Yeah.
And honestly, like when you're driving some of these cars back to back, it does really get that close sometimes. And I bet you the newer Jetta would be quite not Jetta, sorry, newer Forte would hold its own even better.
And the newer Si.
Yep.
The GLI is essentially the same. It's just facelifted.
Oh, look at this. This is a commenter from a year ago. I remember test driving the Forte GT, really dug it, love the fact it comes with a bunch of stuff like cooled seats, manual handbrake, even a spare. Plus it comes in nice colors. Would have gotten one in a heartbeat, but I already had a GTI and didn't feel like trading. I feel like that's exactly, that's kind of what we're saying. Look at this comment.
Yeah. Bought
my Forte GT back in 2020, had it almost a year, got mine for $22,000 for 6-speed manual with Pilot Sport 4s.
The tires alone are worth $1,000.
He did a tune on it. He 85.
60 dyno runs and 42 drag strip passes.
He's got up to 250 wheel horsepower. Yeah.
I bet that's a fun little car.
Right. Yeah. No, I was pretty darn impressed with the Forte. I think the biggest issue that it comes down to, Kia doesn't market it very well.
They don't.
Chris and I were talking earlier. Oh, I accidentally closed the tab. Yeah.
At least it's not an upside down horse.
Chris and I were talking earlier about how Honda, Volkswagen, Ford, all these brands Hyundai have done very good jobs at creating a separate brand out of their performance lines. Yeah. So very similar to like AMG and M. Now you have ST, RS, STI, GTI, SI, and all these things. And Kia has cool cars, and they don't really have a good job at marketing the difference between a Forte and a Forte GT. It just sounds like it's a normal trim.
Yeah, because as you mentioned earlier, GT is such a broad trim level. Like you could just have a Grand Caravan GT, and you see that on the road, and you're like, oh, well, that doesn't mean anything. And then you see a Forte GT, and you're like, oh, it probably just has leather seats.
Yep.
Yeah.
So great car, poorly marketed.
Yeah. I mean, admittedly, that's what I thought until I was scrolling on TikTok one day, and this guy had a Forte GT with a muffler delete and a tune and stuff, and it sounded awesome. I was like, holy crap, Kia makes a hot Forte? I didn't know that.
And you're a car person, right. So good luck trying to find...
no idea.
Yeah, find a non-car
like
person that knows that.
6 months ago, and then I've been bothering Charlie for 6 months, trying to get him to book us one. Finally, we got one.
And I had been bothering Kia for like a year and a half, so now we finally got one, and it was good.
It was.
Yes.
I thoroughly enjoyed that car.
Daily Motor Good Car Award.
Yeah,
the Kia Forte GT, absolutely. Other one we had, Lexus Nx350h, the best NX you can buy, because the hybrid version is actually $500 cheaper than the non-hybrid with the same engine.
Are they just trying to phase out the non-hybrid, do you think?
I really think they probably are. They still need to offer it for reasons, but they really shouldn't have. You can also get a naturally aspirated 250, which if we know anything from the ES 250 we drove, is an awful choice for a luxury vehicle.
That was a hybrid though, the 250.
No, earlier on, you may have not been around yet, but we had
I drove it.
Yeah.
Hated that powertrain.
Yeah, it just was not fitting. I mean, it was fine in something like a Camry. It was not fitting for a Lexus.
It didn't idle properly.
Well, yeah, that might have been an issue in the one we had.
And the climate control was weird.
The engine probably had to work hard just to power all the electronics in a luxury vehicle.
Probably.
Yeah. And then you can also get the 450h plug-in hybrid, but I think a lot of Lexus buyers they're not going to care about the plug-in hybrid aspect of owning a car. I think plug-in hybrids pretty much only exist for nerds at this point. And I recognize that because I am an EV car nerd type, and I would love a plug-in hybrid, but I would be like plugging it in and tracking like, okay, I plan on driving in the city at about 15 miles, so I'm going to hold my charge on the highway to get there.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to use my charge up in the city and all that stuff. I don't think most NX buyers are going to even know how to work all that stuff or give a shit.
No, I get anxiety when we have plug-in hybrid cars.
Yeah, you just drive them empty and then get roasted in the comments for reviewing an empty plug-in hybrid.
Like, I don't...
No, you are right.
When I do drive them,
you're correct.
I drive them in EV hold mode, and I just keep my charge.
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
Because we'll yell at you if you show up with it empty.
I know. Yeah. You and Amos always give me crap. Amos is like, every time we get one, he's like, Chris, charge it this time. Charge it. Make sure you charge it.
But no, we do tease you about it. But there's this one other journalist. His name's John Volcker. He does some freelance writing and works for Car and Driver now and stuff. And he's done a lot of work on electric vehicle writing. It's kind of a specialty. He told me once at dinner that there was some large batch of like employee-owned Chevy Volts that like got turned in, and Chevy like looked at all the data from them, and like 95% of them were pretty much driven exclusively as hybrids. They were never plugged in. And I honestly think most people are just not going to plug it in. Yeah. They're just going to drive it like a normal hybrid. So yeah, it's kind of cool that cars like the RAV4 Prime and stuff exist. Well, it isn't a gimmick, again, for the right buyer.
No, I guess city things.
Yeah, or like a car like the Pacifica plug-in hybrid. That's a large car and often driven slowly, and in like situations, say like soccer practice pickup or something like that. So if you were a soccer mother and could leave in the morning with your Pacifica plug-in hybrid charged all the way and do your kid running around errands and be at 100% electric, come back home, plug it in again, go out again at 3 o'clock, do everything again, come back. There's 60 miles of driving right there that you did without making any carbon emissions. It's much cheaper. Such is life. But yes, for anyone who's going to be putting a lot of miles on their car, doing road trips, or they just don't want to be a very involved owner in their ownership experience, just get a hybrid.
Yeah.
Or full electric.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think plug-in hybrids are the right answer for most people.
I agree with that.
Yeah. All of that is to say, getting the 350h is the best because you have the turbocharger for high-end power and you have the hybrid aspect for low-end power. So that paired up with the CVT, there's pretty much no dead zone in power for that car.
Good torque curve.
Exactly. And that's what you want in a luxury vehicle is smoothness, especially in a Lexus. That powertrain, you can barely tell when the engine kicks on unless you're really on it. If you're just easing up speed, it's very quiet. It's very subtle. I averaged over 30 miles per gallon with just over 800 miles of traveling, and that was 95% highway. In the city, you can get much more. You got 35 miles per gallon on our highway fuel economy test at 70 miles per hour.
Yep.
And the infotainment is vastly improved, the best you can get in a Lexus right now.
It is, and it makes a nice noise when you touch it.
Yes, it does have good touch noises, which I quickly turned off. Wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. A pretty darn good Mark Levinson sound system when it works properly. Chris and I both did notice that it had some weird flukes where it just didn't sound right.
Pre-production
for no. Were you using wireless CarPlay when that happened?
No, I don't think so.
Wired CarPlay?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe not. I don't remember.
Fair enough. Yeah.
It's hard to keep track.
The previous Gen NX needed to look better, have better infotainment, and a better powertrain. And Lexus did all three of those things with this car.
Yeah.
Be an easy car to own. It's a relaxing car to drive. Much, much cheaper than that Genesis we had 2 weeks ago. Our Lexus was about $53,000 this spec. The Genesis was $65,000.
$65,000, yeah.
Yeah. So I would definitely get the Lexus over that. I think it's not the best compact luxury crossover, but it's definitely up there. And for some people, it's the best option.
You called it, what, an 8 out of 10?
Yeah, and it's probably
that's pretty solid.
8.5 out of 10.
It was a cool spec.
Yeah.
The blue color.
I don't know if I'd get red interior on a Lexus. Unless it were like an RC or something, or an LC.
I like the red.
I'd get a nice beige. Can you get a beige steering wheel on a Lexus?
The LC.
Okay.
Although that isn't beige, it's more of like a natural brown. What?
You guys are more visually sensitive than I am, I guess.
Yeah.
Speaking of visually sensitive, someone had a comment for you that I saw recently. They were curious as to why you cared so much about the mismatched door panels in that Jetta when the Civic Si has mismatched seats.
That is what makes it not as bad.
But they said, why didn't you care about the mismatched seats?
Because it's a Honda and they're always just like that.
So Honda gets a pass, but Volkswagen does not?
Yes.
Okay.
Because in the Civic Type R, it's the same way, right? You have the red front seats and it's just like the basic back seat. But Volkswagen, it should be a little bit more of a luxurious experience if they're only giving you the Autobahn package in the GLI, right? You've got perforated leather seats in the front, perforated leather seats in the back with matching stitching all around. That all matches. But then the door panels don't match.
So you're saying essentially you should either have an entirely nice rear or an entirely shitty rear. You can't be a partial.
Kind of, but Honda is different because Honda is more like the I don't know. It's a different vibe with a hot Honda.
Okay.
I don't know.
So you're pretty much like
explain.
It's okay for one of your girlfriends to beat you, but the other one it's not okay.
No, but like think about.
Are you being gaslit by Honda, Chris?
I guess so. Think about like old Japanese like performance cars.
Okay.
Like crazy bonkers Recaros in the front, right? Nothing in the back.
Sure.
It's more so also across the line with Volkswagens. Okay. Because the Taos was the same way.
Okay.
Like you've got this really nice, what was it, tan? I forgot what color the interior
Probably
was.
not beige.
I don't remember. It was a nice, the seats were really nice. Front door panels were really nice. And then the back door panels are just universal. It irks me. I don't know. It bothers me.
That's fair. Okay. Yeah. I just figured I'd mention it.
Yeah.
Also, someone commented to me and said that power adjusted steering columns are overrated. And at first I agreed with him because he was like, you pretty much just said it and forget about it. And I was like, you're right. That is a good point. And then later on today, I was thinking about it more. And I was like, wait a minute. Power adjusted steering columns are great when you have a spouse.
Yeah.
Because in the Tesla, I would get in and my steering column would adjust from Alyssa's position, who's much smaller than me. Yeah. And now I'm thinking in the Maverick, it's manually adjusted and it is something I have to change. Don't get me wrong, it's subtle. And I will never complain about a power adjusted steering column in any car that's not supposed to be quote unquote luxury.
Right.
But it's as soon as you crest either $50,000 or what you're supposed to be called a luxury car.
Right.
And then I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. It also in our line of work is nice because like, for our POV videos, we usually raise the steering wheel up.
Yes.
And like I'll raise it up from when I'm filming and then after I'll put it back
immediately
down because I like to drive with it lower. So I always like when they're power.
Right.
But your point of having a spouse, that's kind of the main thing. Because I mean that's valid. I mean the commenter like sure, you know, like
or kids.
All of my cars like that I exclusively drive that are my personal cars, I've never touched the steering column like ever since I bought them. So
sure. And then I also will say, like driving this Lexus over the weekend, when you're doing a road trip, after a few hours in, there are times when you do end up wanting to adjust your steering position. And with a power unit, you can get it very fine-tuned exactly where you like. With a manual, often it's kind of like you're latched into certain spots.
I want to bring up Stellantis.
Oh boy, are you going to bring up the fact that they near chop your fingers off when you try to release?
Break a fingernail on them.
Yeah, I've been hurt so many times by Stellantis steering wheels. And I'll continue to be hurt.
Because they don't catch on fire when you latch them. Maybe that's why they don't put power ones in because
they'd catch on fire.
Combust.
Right. Speaking of catching on fire, you witnessed a vehicle fire this weekend.
You know what? So I was driving by Kroger and billows of black smoke. I was like, oh, Kroger's on fire. But no, it was a Chevy Trailblazer, a brand new Chevy Trailblazer, like a 2021 or whatever those are. I guess I suppose it could have been brand new. Engulfed. This is the biggest vehicle fire I've ever seen. It was to the C-pillar engulfed. I have a photo actually. Did I send you the photo?
Yeah. Oh, it was just the aftermath. It was a very burned car.
A shell of a Trailblazer. But yeah, it was on fire. The owner was standing near it on the phone, probably to their insurance company.
You should see if it's at Copart Detroit in a week.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it will be.
And it'll sit on the Copart lot in a pile of rubble for 3 months.
We should buy it for $100. Because you could probably salvage the rear wheels and maybe the mufflers.
Being a new model car like that, it'll probably sell for like $1,000.
Yeah, because you could also, I was going to say if you just needed a VIN and a title, but it's crispy. So all the VIN plates probably melted off.
Yeah, rough.
So.
This week at Daily Motor headquarters, 2 more of the compact luxury crossover game, BMW X3 and Acura RDX.
Yes. X3 M40i and RDX A-Spec.
Yeah, very sporty.
Sporty.
Yeah. I have driven the RDX a bit some today. Did the Winding Road day drive. It's nice. It does a little bit suffer from 2-liter turbo syndrome in that it has a 2-liter turbo. And you hear it. and 2-liter turbos just generally don't sound good unless they're in a Veloster N.
Especially when they pipe in exhaust noise.
Yeah.
That just makes everything worse.
It really does.
Yeah.
It is a sharp looking car though.
It is a very good looking SUV.
Yeah.
And it makes some satisfying noises when you change drive modes or you're going through your infotainment. It's all very good stuff.
The other thing I noticed with this RDX is everything inside is so gosh darn premium, and even like the turn signal stock, you click it down and it's such a satisfying like clunk. It's very well built. This is the color of the one we have, this very bright blue. It kind of looks like they make a flat blue too. Have you seen this in person?
That's a special edition.
Is it?
Yeah, they only made a handful of those.
Okay.
That's shoot. We learned about that special edition at the event. I forgot what it's called. They do an orange one too.
I see. The red looks very nice. I'd probably get the red.
The red is nice. And you don't have to get an A-Spec.
Yes, and you probably shouldn't. I don't see why you need to drive. Trust me, when I put this one into sporty mode, I was like, okay.
Yeah, you can get white interior on the A-Spec. That's the only reason I could think.
Yes, I do like that white interior we have.
You can get specifically. You also get a little bit of Alcantara on the dashboard if you are the passenger and you want to pet the dash while you're driving around.
Which you said you would do.
I love Alcantara, but the problem with Alcantara is it wears out. So if you're not the first owner of a car with Alcantara, then you don't want Alcantara because it just gets soaked and matted and nasty.
Would you have an Alcantara steering wheel on a car?
Yes.
You can get Alcantara brushes that kind of like spruce it up.
Yeah, I was actually watching a video of a guy. I forgot what kind of car it was. I think it was like an older Boss 302. You get those with the Alcantara steering wheel. And he bought it used and it was all just like flat and like crispy and gross. Yeah. And he like brought it back to life. Like he just brushed the shit out of it and like really, really got in to the point where it looked like he was destroying it, but he really brushed it, conditioned it, everything, let it dry, and it was fluffy and nice again. So I mean, you can bring it back. I think what happens is it presses in. It presses in
the oils in people's hands.
It gets matted and nasty.
But the best thing to do is just regularly maintain it. And at Car and Driver, when we had a long-term Alfa Romeo Giulia quad, we had an Alcantara. Yeah. We had a Alcantara brush to kind of keep everything fresh.
Nice.
Yep.
When that car wasn't in the shop.
Oh my gosh, it was broken so often. Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah.
So I think the RDX will be good. I think it's for the right buyer. I think there are very different buyers who would be better served by an RDX than the NX, and also into the X3 that we're getting here soon, especially being the M40i X-Drive version of the X3.
It's got the B58.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be very fun to drive, but I don't think a lot of people are buying compact crossovers to be fun to drive. I think they just want it.
It's bordering on douche car.
Yes, very
much. Not quite as douche car as the X3M and X3M competition.
Yeah, the X3M on competition is full douche.
Oh, God.
Yeah. If there are Pokemon evolutions, you have the 30i is your first evolution into douchedom. And then the M40i is middle tier. The comp is full evolution, and then the M is full evolution, and the comp is mega evolution.
Yeah, mega.
Yep. Mega douche.
Yeah. There's something about that X3M competition that just bothers me.
Yep.
What is that noise?
It's just some feedback. Calm down. I think it's iPhone related feedback.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
but it'll be good to at least have to compare, because we've had so many compact luxury crossovers recently that it'll be cool to have an X3 regardless of douche status.
It's probably really fast also.
Oh, I'm sure it's crazy.
It's probably very fast.
Yeah. It will be great to have this car soon after having the G70 3.5.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure this powertrain is awesome.
Oh yeah, well it's an inline six. Inline sixes are just better than V6s.
They really are.
Yes.
So this has been established.
God, could you imagine that GV70 with an inline six?
Oh, it'd be excellent. That would be the car to have.
Yeah.
They could justify charging $65,000 if it had a characteristic
turbo inline six.
turbo
and
inline
like
six.
a snappier transmission.
Yeah, that would help too.
If they just took the powertrain from the BMW, put it in the GV70, which looks better.
Yeah, it'd also be much more efficient. I bet you this X3 will get over 30 miles per gallon on the highway.
Yeah, it probably will, because the same powertrain as the M240i, a little bit heavier, a little bit less aerodynamic.
Yeah, let's see.
It's probably rated at like 30. Maybe 29.
Gov 22 BMW
X3
40i. Now EPA only says 26, but I bet you could squeeze out 30.
Who's doing that? You or me? Probably me.
Who's reviewing it?
It's probably me.
It's you.
Yeah. I will report back next week.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Another car that we drove this past week.
God, what is that color on that one?
Oh, you haven't seen like highlighter piss blue or yellow?
Blue.
Yeah, yellow.
That's the worst thing I've ever seen. Can you pull up a real one?
A real one.
Could you imagine going into the dealership? I assume it's dentists. I don't know who else would. Yeah, there's one. That is just appalling.
Oh, it's not up on the screen. Here, let me see. Not that anyone's looking at the screen.
Absolutely appalling.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. But hey, if you really want to scream out how much you're a douchebag, then sometimes you need a color to help.
Make sure you have a good chiropractor if you get one of those cars.
Yeah, the ride's a little rough. Not even just the ride, but
it's
taking
not even
off
the ride, it's the
light.
throttle response and everything.
Yeah. Yep. This was probably shot out where we were.
It does look like it was
in thermal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just blocked those cars out of my memory, I guess. I drove an X3M competition there. It was like the frost or the frozen blue. BMW calls them matte colors. And I drove out. I got in it and I started driving it and I turned around to come back because I was like, I'm not filming this car. Seriously, I did.
Wow.
I turned around, went back, and I got into an Alpina. I think that's when I got into the Alpina instead.
Well, if you'd like me to get you an X3M competition for the wedding weekend, you can drive that out.
Get me one of those.
Which would you rather have, this or an Ascent?
The BMW, but still.
Would you actually, though? If you really thought. If you had to do 600 miles of driving.
I don't have to be aggressive throttle response on the highway, though.
Yeah. I know,
so I
but
can drive the BMW.
Yeah, but you'd also be any expansion
I'm not
joint.
To your wedding in a Subaru.
Any expansion joint, you'd get your teeth rattled out. Whereas the Ascent, I mean, yeah, you'd have to listen to the CVT whir for 600 miles.
And I'd have to.
But you'd have nice seats at least. Yeah, that's true.
With eyesight going beep, 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 at me every time.
The moment you look away, it's hey, get your damn eyes back on the road. The other car we had this week for an afternoon was a 2019 Tesla Model X
standard range that
Gene Buttman Ford in Ypsilanti, Michigan wanted way too much money for.
Yes, very alarming. Well, I'll let you talk about what you experienced while you were driving.
Oh, you talk first.
Okay, well, overall, the model... Oh, you're going to pull up the for sale listing?
I was curious if they had dropped the price at all yet.
They have not.
Do they just put this reduced?
Actually.
Well, do they just put that like on every car?
No, they don't.
They did actually have it up at 105 at one point.
I think they must have, yeah.
Or 106.9 rather.
Yeah, that should be legit.
Okay.
So initial first impressions on this car. Feels massive, and it could just be because it weighs so much.
Mm-hmm.
And also the windshield is so big. I think that could kind of contribute.
Yeah, it has the windshield that goes up further.
Also, the only other Tesla I've ever driven prior to this Model X was your Model Y and Matthew's Model Y.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It felt like a bus.
It did.
It had a very alarming driveline vibration.
Very bad.
Under hard acceleration. So that was kind of alarming, but it didn't blow up. So. Good. I was waiting for the drive shaft to just like explode, come through the floor and sever.
Well, I don't even think there is a drive shaft because it's just motors right on the wheel. I mean, the drive shafts are probably this long because
they're just little axle shafts.
Yeah.
I was waiting for one of the front ones to come fly through the floor and kill me.
Right. Yeah, it's the only mainstream Tesla that I had not driven yet, the Model X, and it was cool. It had a lot of wow factor.
I'm glad we drove it.
Yeah, I'm glad we drove it too. It didn't do much for me. It did feel very large, and I've driven an S, and I've driven the Y and the 3, and for half the cost of a new X, The Y certainly doesn't feel like half the car.
No,
not at all.
No.
Though the X did ride better with the air suspension and just more quality. I mean, the Y rides really rough, so the X drives better.
It was more gimmicky than anything.
Yeah, so
got
gimmicky.
The doors.
Yeah, for any of you who aren't familiar with the upper tier Teslas, maybe it's just the X at this point, but I think the S does it as well. When you walk up to the car, the door opens for you.
Yeah.
And then you get in, put your foot on the brake, and the door closes for you.
Very aggressively.
Yeah, slams. Yeah. And it's got the big Falcon doors that fly up and look neat, which are gimmicky, but they do make for easy entry for a car seat.
They do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would not spend over, let's say now they only make the long range in the Plaid. So let's just say the long range. I would not spend over $65,000 for this car. Yeah. And yet
it should be what this is going for, because sticker on it was what,
80 something. Yeah. 82, and they're asking $103,000 for it with 19 some thousand miles or something.
Well, if you want to pay $103,000 for a Model X, Gene Butman Ford has got you covered.
Speaking of Gene Butman Ford, I had a question for you.
Okay.
Your mother, who's in the market for a new car, has she considered a Ford Mustang Mach-E?
No.
Why not?
I don't know. I haven't really.
Perhaps you should pitch that to her.
I don't know that she's ready for an EV. But
Why not?
If she were ready for an EV, a Mach-E would be a good.
I guess the only thing that would make EV ownership tough for her is the occasional trip she makes to Chicago.
She'd be fine going to work and back, because we literally live like a mile from work.
And she's retiring soon anyway.
She's retiring soon anyways. So I guess it would be more so she wants to have a little part-time job when she retires, so she can stay like
balling,
melting into the couch. So she would have to make sure that it could make that journey, and then we'd have to get a charger installed at the house, which wouldn't be too big of a deal.
No. You could sponsor one if you really wanted.
Literally, yeah. I don't know. I guess I could bring it up to her. I don't think my parents are ready to make the switch yet. My dad has mentioned maybe wanting to get a Lightning for his next truck, but that would be in a couple of years. So we'll see.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, you have a good relationship with good old Gene Butman Ford.
Yeah.
Could maybe bring one home to her or something like that. Let her try it out.
Well, we're getting one soon, aren't we?
We are. It'll be a Performance GT, but yeah, she could still check it out and everything. We also won't have much time with it because we have to share it with the Topher. But yeah, I
actually didn't know we were getting any time with it.
Yeah. Oh. Yep. No, we'll split it. It's I just think she could be a candidate for electric at this point. Yeah.
Turn your phone off.
It's actually the signal. It's like it's probably getting pinged from a new message or something like that. Yeah. It's weird to think that there are so many like waves going through our bodies at all times.
Giving us cancer.
Yep. Just from one way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't buy a Model X unless someone's giving it to you. Buy a 3 or a Y or an S instead. Another car we drove last week. My new 2008 Ford Escape. I forgot what it was at first. Escape Hybrid with 329,000 miles.
Yeah, you didn't quite catch me there in mileage. Almost.
Yeah.
What does mine have? 360.
Yeah, I got a ways to go to get to yours. Yeah. It's not running necessarily.
It is running.
It runs, but it stalls out.
Does. Well, the electric motor runs great.
Right. And I think it was running perfectly before. Well, we don't know perfectly, but it was definitely running when it hit the deer.
Yeah.
Because it was clearly moving fast enough to hit a deer to do enough damage.
You didn't give any backstory.
Yes, sorry. For any of you who did not tune into the end of last week's podcast, Chris in the Copart section brought up this beautiful green. Single owner.
What is
lime green?
I'm going to get the color code. Keep going.
2008 Escape Hybrid. And it was at Copart. And I bid on it. I ended up winning it for a winning bid of, what was it, $775? All the way out the door after fees and tax and title and everything. I was $1,200. So it's here now. It's here at DMHQ.
And she's beautiful.
It hit a deer in the front and it needs to be repaired. But the engine doesn't run properly. It stalls out. And it's one of two things, I think. Let me think. One of three things, but most likely one of two. There's a ground cable that's dangling at the bottom of the car, which looks like it was severed. So the engine might not be grounded properly and it could be freaking out. So it's either that or our buddy Keone also pointed out that the valve cover gasket or valve cover, whatever is at the top of the engine there that got cracked, it could be sucking in air and actually getting like
or from the intake manifold with the.
Well, it could be the intake manifold as well that has a crack in it, but it could also be that top that top section in the engine that could be screwing up
lots of things.
the flow. But only those 3 things. I think fixing those 3 things and it will run well.
Kiwi green.
Kiwi green.
That's so good. We should see if the plate Kiwi is available because you should get that if it is.
That'd be cute. Kiwi. Yeah. Kiwi. It's cool though. It's a limited or whatever the top dog trim was back then.
That's nice. So you have like premium audio in there and stuff, right? So leather seats, leather steering wheel.
Mm-hmm. It's decently clean. It's clearly not owned by people with kids.
No.
Steering wheel could be
milkshakes. Old people.
Those are called milkshakes?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I never heard that. Must be a Florida term.
I have been in Florida a lot lately.
Yeah. Or on the milkshakes.
Up on the lingo.
There you go. I'm excited about it. I don't know when I'm really going to get a chance to drive it because I don't really have much need for it, but maybe we'll sell the Maverick. I did put in a request to Carvana and Vroom to see what they'd pay us for the Maverick. Vroom was $29,000 and Carvana was $31,000.
Oh, Carvana would pay you more than you paid for it.
Right. Yeah, significantly. So, yeah, that's a thought, but we like the Maverick quite a bit as well.
Nice plate. Not a robot.
Yeah, we'll keep you kind of updated. I think I'll do at least a review video and a sound test video, maybe a fuel economy too. I mean, why not?
Fuel economy would be sweet.
Yeah.
It would be cool to run a fuel economy test with my E46 versus your Escape.
Yeah, I think we do, and see what the delta will be between what they were supposed to get new and what they actually get.
Yeah,
I think we will do that because you could stand to make more videos on your car justifying buying that.
Yeah, I don't make enough things. Someone already has Kiwi.
Mm.
What about K1W1
or Kiwi GRN, Kiwi green? Problem is my Kiwi green paint is fading quite a bit on the top, so it almost looks silver in certain sections. Did you do Kiwi green, Kiwi GRN?
Well, the problem is this new plate, you can only do 6 characters.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that the new plate design, you mean? Oh, well, just get the standard plate.
Oh, you could do KWIGRN.
Kiwi green.
Yeah. Anyways, though.
Yeah, but it's neat. I suspect I should be able to fix it up for less than $500.
Let's hope so.
However, I did go to the U-Pull junkyard near us, and not only were there no headlights, which I told you about, but that radiator support, it's like the entire front bracket of the car.
Oh, nice.
It doesn't like just unbolts.
That'll be fun.
It's not fun. So I think what I'm going to try to do is just hammer out the one that's on the car.
Great. Or you could just tie it to the tree and put it in reverse and back up.
Might have to do that.
I'll help you with that.
Yeah, so that's cool. Is that everything we drove?
Yeah.
I guess we technically drove Chris's 4Runner last week too. We
did drive the 4Runner
to pick up
a little bit of
Escape.
Of a clench moment.
Yeah. Make sure to use your drop hitches properly.
Yeah.
Also screwed up a tow hitch or a tow strap.
Yep. And one of the straps maybe was no longer in the position it was when we set off.
Yeah, you're right. That was a little strange as well.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
No longer want to use the dolly.
I just love how the things that we get to do on a weekly basis are pretty much what I did in Make Believe back when I was like a 7-year-old child, just pushing my cars around with their little trailers and stuff. And now we just do that in real life.
Yeah, I would set up lines of Hot Wheels and I would compare them and I would get to a verdict of which one was best.
Nice.
So it's kind of like what we do now.
Exactly.
And I would, I'd watch Top Gear and I'd be like, wow, I want to be Jeremy Clarkson.
And now you're essentially James May, so you're close.
That's there, yeah.
Yep. All right, Copart section for anyone who feels like
go.
turning off or turning on the podcast.
I get turned on by Copart.
I'm sure you do. I have not been watching anything because I don't need to watch anything anymore because I made a purchase. What happened to my Leaf? Did that go up for sale yet?
I think it's sold, right? Wasn't it in Ionia?
Yeah, it did. Did it sell for just... I think it sold for maybe a few grand. Yeah, I logged in.
Do you secretly wish you had the Leaf instead?
Does this mean I have nothing on my watch list? Why is it?
What are a Copart?
Register to start your watch list.
Oh, you're not logged. Oh, you are?
I am logged in.
No, you must not be watching anything. Oh, wait, no. Wait.
What?
Go back to the home screen because sometimes it pops up there.
Let me try this again.
Yeah, there. Oh.
Yeah, it must just mean that everything on my watch list
I don't think you're watching anything.
Yep, right here. It's not there.
Nothing.
Okay. What are we looking up, Chris?
Would you like to watch something?
Oh boy. I don't know if my wallet can afford it right now, but let's see.
357 45442. This is a tasty one.
Wow, this looks remarkably similar to your buddy's car.
It does. So
he didn't have an accident recently,
he didn't.
did he?
No, this isn't his.
This is a 2013 Audi S4 Premium Plus.
Yeah, so what makes this one unique is it is Volcano Red Metallic, which was an Audi exclusive color. Allegedly, they only made 49 of these in this color. And yeah, this one's just an automatic, black interior, whatever, but still a pretty rare car, so I thought it was kind of cool.
It appears to have very aggressively met a tree.
Or a pole.
Or a pole of some sort.
Like dead on.
I don't think I've ever seen a car, I know it exists, I'm not saying it doesn't, but I don't think personally I've seen a car have this direct and hard of a front end. Just, I mean, the headlights are practically untouched because it's just all the damage is right in the very center.
Yeah, that's remarkable, huh?
It is remarkable.
Be a good parts car for someone that had a Volcano Red Metallic.
Yeah.
S4.
Yeah, it does not run and drive. Can't imagine why. It run, well, it like turns on at least.
Yeah, I don't know that this one's really worth saving because that's, for one, it's in Ohio, so it has a salvage title.
I see.
And also, it's smashed up pretty bad.
Well, that's cool.
What else do I have here? You want another one?
Yes.
All right, next one is 410-610-62.
A 1988 Mercedes-Benz 420 SEL.
Yeah, so this is similar to what I own.
It's not often you don't see it not in black.
I know, this is a cool color, and the real shame about this is this car only has 36,000 miles on it, and it's absolutely mint if you look at the interior.
Oh my gosh, I've never seen one in tan.
Clean.
It looks so good. Really nice.
And
Chris, just buy this and then swap over the parts you need, paint it, and be good.
I know, but I don't want to buy this car just because I would feel bad like parting it out.
Oh, it's in Pennsylvania too.
Yeah, it's in Pennsylvania, and it has a salvage title. It's not really worth like fixing it.
Really?
It's so smashed.
Huh.
I'm sure the frame is destroyed. Or
really?
Like the apron.
Okay. Bummer.
That'll be a good parts car for somebody.
The back, like 7/8 of the car is so nice.
I know, it's beautiful. Estimated
airbag
value $19,000. So whoever had this car, their insurance paid them out nearly 20 grand for it. I feel like it's maybe even worth more than that because look at the interior. I've seen some of these go and bring a trailer for even more that are in similar condition to this.
The right person will pay a little bit for this car and fix it up really nice.
Probably, yeah.
If it were the top motor, would you be more tempted to get it?
Maybe, but I also like my car just because it has a story.
That's fair.
You know, like
yeah. Why you don't think anyone had been murdered in this one? I
don't think so. No, unless they did a really good job covering it up.
Right. Anything else?
Yeah, sure. We can look at this one too. This one is 385-743-02.
2004 Lexus LX 470 in Detroit, running and driving.
Yeah.
Someone in an Arab country will buy this car.
Yeah, this will probably go over to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And then someone will put like a 1JZ in it, drive it up sand dunes and whatnot.
Someone who went to Novi.
This is a nice car.
This car. Swim and dive. On the Novi swim and dive team.
Let me check the auto check and see how many owners it's had.
Probably 2.
Yep, you're right. So, the first owner was a lease because it was 3 years.
There you go.
The second owner was 13 years.
Bought it off lease and drove it around, then gave it to their kids. They drove it around, and then she ran into something.
It's like the whole side of the car is taken out.
Yeah, she crashed. It's not bad, though. Continued to crash into something. Did not hit the brake pedal.
No, that was a long crash.
Just kept going.
It was a big, long crash.
Yeah.
This will be a really nice car for somebody. I mean,
it is quite nice inside. It looks like it's been maintained well. Yeah.
I bet this thing will sell for 10 grand.
Yeah.
Like it's that nice.
It's kind of crazy because estimated retail value is still only 13, but it's a clean title.
Someone will pay 10 grand for this car.
I mean, there are idiots out there who will pay $1,000 all in for 300,000 mile escapes. So
I know it's so.
Someone will pay a lot more for this.
Car,
Yeah. Although not 10 times the fuel economy. So
that's true.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what we can get into with this Escape.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
I am too. It could be an overlanding rig, although it's front wheel drive only. If it were an all-wheel drive model, it could turn it into an efficient overlander.
That's right.
And it would be eco-colored too, so it could blend in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd look very proper.
Maybe we can take it to the Mama Rally this year.
You're right. 'Cause instead of driving any of our nice brand new cars, we tend to drive super high mileage cars
Yeah,
to
and this would be a good fuel economy.
Yeah, it really would.
Yeah, and it's got plenty of room in the back seat for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. We should make Amos buy a 300,000+ mile car, and
can
all
drive
three
all
of us
three.
should drive our 300,000+ mile cars
Up to
the Mama Rally.
Wisconsin.
That would be a hoot, holler, and a half.
It would be fun.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Neat. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in. We had a lot to talk about this week, so that was exciting.
Yes.
Tune in next week to hear what we have to say about the new compact crossovers. And I should also, before we leave, take a quick look at our coming up list, because we have that established for next week as well, so we can kind of tell you what's coming up. We are getting the Land Rover Defender V8 and a Lexus GX460 Blackline. I think the only thing worth mentioning on the GX460 is that it will have a new infotainment, touchscreen.
Yeah, Chris just had that car.
Yes, but he didn't have the Blackline, but he had the GX460, so it's essentially...
It had silver wheels instead of black wheels?
Not quite. It also, his had less ground clearance. This one had more ground clearance because it's a lower trim, and I think it doesn't have the same running boards.
Gotcha.
Yep, and the air suspension or something.
All right,
Yep.
couple of differences there.
Right, exactly. So tune in to hear about those, and hopefully, God willing, none of us buy anything on Copart this week.
I'll try not to.
Right. And we'll see you and talk to you on the next one, where Charlie and Chris with Daily Motor, and as every time, drive on.
As every time.
As every time that we say you need to drive on. That's just the only instruction from us.
Yeah.
Don't do anything but drive on.